Welcome to another episode of What's Working in E-Commerce. I'm Egan from Caravan Digital, and today I'm really excited to have on Quinn Zeda from Conversion Crimes, where they specialize in user testing. Quinn, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Super stoked to be here.
Tell us a little bit about Conversion Crimes and how you got into this.
So Conversion Crimes was actually born from a problem that we had in my ex-agency, Zeda Labs. So we did these really big redesign projects where it's 8 to 10 months doing all kind of customer research, analytics, all that. And then we'd create a whole new website and launch it for them. And we found that usability testing, user testing was the 80-20 of CRO. So it literally just finds the friction points people are having and give you very targeted places to focus your improvement on.
I feel like when people think about conversion rate optimization, they're often thinking A/B testing and things like that, but you found that that was not where most of the value was, huh?
A/B testing, it's you're still making hypotheses, right? And you're still pulling that information from a silo, right? And with usability testing, it's coming from the user. Where are they having problems? Where are they coming up with friction? Where are they misunderstanding? Because as someone that creates something, you're in your store every day or your website every day, you know exactly how to do things, exactly how to find things, but you don't know what it looks like to someone for the first time.
Kind of said a little bit about it, but how do you define user testing and when is it a good fit for people?
Yeah, so user testing is basically having somebody go to your website store while they're recording their screen, and you give them a set of tasks. So it can be simple, go find a blue shirt under $50 and size medium with 2-day shipping. Right? And can they accomplish that goal? Then add it to cart and check out. And so they go through these tasks as they're speaking their thoughts out loud, oh, I can't find this. Oh, what does that mean? So you're getting these real reactions from people and really understanding where those friction points are and where you can improve them. With usability testing, there are a lot of times that you can do it. So a lot of times people think oh, I'm in the middle of a redesign, I'm not ready for testing, I want to launch it. Actually, that's one of the best times to use usability testing because you can test a prototype. Anything with a link, you can test. The only limit to testing is your imagination. So you can literally send them to an image of the website. You can send them to a Figma sketch, some kind of prototype to go to. And what you do is you find issues before you've actually done any development.
As people are building out and working on a new site, or if they're an e-commerce store owner and they're about to launch one, basically, they could be testing those wireframes before they even launch the site, huh?
So you can show someone even a wireframe and be okay, where would you go to do this? And see if they're going to the place where you want them to go. Or are they looking for it somewhere else? And then you can use that to guide yourself along that design process. And then even after it launches, you can go find those areas of improvement and continue to tweak.
We've got real users actually using our site. It could be on mobile, could be on desktop, right? And then we're kind of giving them directions and tasks to try for the test. How do you write a good test?
There's a lot of different ways to write a test. You can leave it open-ended, go to this website and play around with it. Or if you're hey, we're launching a new shopping cart experience, we definitely want them to go through the shopping cart. You can bring them to it, increase the number of items in it. Now remove an item from the cart. You can test the functionality of it. The main thing is, though, with test writing is you don't want to lead the tester. Click in the menu item, apparel, and find a shirt that would whatever. Instead, you want to say, find a t-shirt on this website that fits this requirement and see how they're doing that. Also change the terms that we use. So if you use apparel and the menu item will say t-shirt, you're not giving them the exact name or word that they're looking for on the site. So we'll find a similar word, but not the exact word.
What are some things that e-commerce companies should be testing, or what are some good tasks to have user testers run?
So a lot of the common tests we run for e-commerce stores is generally going to the site, giving their first impression, finding a product, answering questions about that product, and then kind of checking out. That's the flow. Then we'll have specific tests where we focus on categorization and filtering. Like, can they go like use the site? Can they filter it in the way that they want to? Can they find the product that they want to? Another one is cart functionality. Another one is to find basic information about the store. Like, can they find shipping rates? Can they find your return and exchange information? Can they find a number to the store? How do they contact support?
Yeah, one thing I really appreciated when we used Conversion Crimes for our client was you kind of already had a battery of tests that are useful to run for e-commerce, and so you guys have done this a lot, and you sort of know what are the big things to check, right?
We're focusing on e-commerce stores to start. Conversion Crimes works for everything. We have software customers, SaaS customers. We've actually had bug testing for some Facebook ad funnels. Like I said, it's like super flexible, but it's like if you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. So we're really focusing on e-commerce stores and getting those processes down and really helping them increase conversions.
How should people think about results when they do user testing?
So results can vary quite a lot. It depends on the store, what's there to find, what the demographic is. So sometimes the result from a test is people don't understand what it is. Like that's like the insight that comes from the test. Other times we found an error in checkout. It was like a 5-minute kind of fix, and it increased their conversions by 115% or something, like literally overnight. And so it really varies on what you find and what's it's very specific. So sometimes you get like little small wins and sometimes you get big wins.
One of the things I heard you speak about at DC Austin was this is a great option if you don't have enough traffic for A/B testing. Can you say more about that?
So with A/B testing, you need 1,000 conversions for statistical significance. And with usability testing, you're sending just 5 testers there. So you don't even need to have traffic. It doesn't even need to be a website, as we talked about earlier, right? You have 3 users out of 5 that are struggling with something, you can assume that that's widespread and just go ahead and fix it, run another test to see if you still have the same problem or not. You can A/B test those changes if you've got the traffic for it, or you can just continue to make improvements, because as you're making these improvements, they kind of compound over time, right? You're reducing friction. There's a lot of e-commerce stores that don't have 1,000 conversions, and they can still be really good stores and make 7 figures. I've got a friend with an e-bike store. He only gets 100 conversions a month, but he's making 7 figures with his store. So he can't even A/B test.
I think you've set me right on that, where I'm thinking if you can't do A/B testing, then you do user testing. But you're saying this works for everybody. Even if you've got enough traffic for A/B testing, it makes sense to be doing user testing too.
What it does, and when you pair it with A/B testing, it gives you ideas. So as I talked about kind of earlier about A/B testing, you're kind of coming up in a silo with the ideas. Like this is what best practice is. So I think we're gonna like change this and see if that improves conversions. Really, it's the user test. You're like, wow, a user is having friction at this point. Let's find solutions for that, and then let's A/B test different solutions for that. So it kind of helps you like narrow the targeting and know exactly where those points of friction are. So you're just not wasting time just randomly coming up with ideas.
Yeah, so sometimes you're finding the issues, and then within this territory, let's have hypotheses to test within that. That's great. Well, it's a very cool tool. Like, we really had fun doing it. We had a great experience with our client. It unearthed many issues right away, and one thing I liked in your platform is basically watching someone go through it on mobile on the side. They're talking through their experience, they're talking through what they're thinking and what they're looking for and what they can't find. And then on the right, we kind of got the test question and then little notes we can jot down. So at the end, we have a report, and we can just hand that to our developer and say, take care of these things, boom, boom, boom. Like that's really slick. I got to ask you, there's a very cool step in the process is once you've paid for your conversion test through Conversion Crimes, there's a part where you come up on the screen on the side and you're asking the questions. And then on the right, you can answer by typing things in. You can, I think, vocally just give an audio recording, or you can do a video right back. So I think you said no one likes to fill out forms, and this was like an alternative to that. Can I just ask about that?
Part of our product is we have to get information from people in order to write their test. And I'm all about user experience, and I want to make things a really good experience. Most people, they don't like filling out forms. And then some people love filling out forms, but they don't want to like make a video or talk or like whatever. Basically, I'm using VideoAsk, which it's a tool by Typeform. And basically I record these videos just asking you questions or talking through stuff. And then you can respond to those questions with text, audio, or video. So that way, if you're an introvert and you don't want to talk to anyone, you can just sit there and type and fill out the form. Or if you're someone that, just wants to turn on the video and just talk through things and give us the information, you can do that. And then it just kind of goes through our system and we get what we need. So it just makes it easier on us and easier on the client.
I was thinking even for e-commerce store owners, that could potentially be something to use where it was really the personal touch. This is my first time talking to you one-on-one, but I sort of feel like I already know you from videos on your site, and then specifically that where you're asking me questions and I'm answering. It's like it really personalizes it. So is that, you said VideoAsk, is that something businesses could potentially use on their website?
It's really flexible in what you can use it for. I've used it for hiring. I've used it for getting customer testimonials. So instead of like having to get on a call or do this kind of stuff, we can automate it. So then that way you can send an email, hey, give us a review on whatever product. And you're like the owner talking through it, asking them questions. So when we've done like hiring in our applications, I will literally host an interview that way, and they're getting me to answer the responses.
Something I've long wondered is just how do you learn UX? How do you learn this stuff? And it sounds like you've really taken a scientific approach throughout of we're doing testing and that's how we gain insights. Is that a fair summary?
So usability testing is actually a really, really good way to get into UX, because when you understand how people use websites and they think through their process and their experience, you just learn so much about human psychology, like where are the most common places that people start to go and do things, and you just start to understand patterns. Like I've watched hundreds of these videos, which they can get a little bit taxing over time. It's a little bit grindy, but you learn so much about usability and how people use things, how people think through problems, how people use the website, and it's just really insightful. Yeah.
It's kind of amazing to think how many web designers and developers there are out there who've never done this step. They actually don't know how users use the products they made.
One of the inspirations for Conversion Crimes was because we use this for my agency, as I mentioned. Usertesting.com, like all the main competitors, they really focus on enterprise customers. When they had this like lower tier version, it was actually like a free version called Peak. When they shut it down, I was like, there's no solution out there for SMEs, small businesses, e-commerce stores and stuff like that. They're outpriced or outfeatured, or it's like super complex to do any of it. And so that was the inspiration for Conversion Crimes. So we've simplified it. We've focused on the things that add value. We've made pricing that matches it. We write the tests because a lot of people don't know how to write tests or get started. We've also added a productized service because then they're like, oh, we watched the videos, but how do we fix that problem? So then it's like, okay, we'll tell you exactly how to fix that problem then. And so they can kind of come in at whatever like price point, experience, or like whatever they want.
Great to see how you've applied that knowledge. And just for me, I always knew about user testing, but I'd never jumped in because I didn't know how to write the test. So the fact that that was an option, that was a selling point for me. And now for our clients at Caravan Digital, we're going to go through each one of them. We'll probably go through multiple times for each one, just because we unearth so many issues, and we know that with all the other channels we drive with, paid search, paid social, etc., those are going to perform even better after we do user testing and fix the issues. So I commend you. I'm a huge fan of what you're doing, so great job.
Yeah, so like everybody's always talking about like redesigns and making this like big project with their store, but I'm trying to kind of refocus people on, I don't know, I was really inspired by Atomic Habits by James Clear, where he talks about like, look, if you just improve 1% every day, at the end of the year, that's actually 37%. And if you get 1% worse every day, then that's actually only 3%. So the idea is you run a user test like every month, you find issues, exactly where those issues are, you fix the friction points. And if you continue to do that over time, whether it's monthly, quarterly, like whatever, you continuously improve the website rather than have like a revolutionary design where you're changing a bunch of things at once. Because when I looked back at my projects that I did with Zeda Labs, because we worked in a silo, we did all this research and then we launched this big redesign and they worked. But my actual most successful project was 16 personalities, where every month we were just like, okay, let's just redo the footer and the header and the value prop. And then next month, okay, well, let's fix the checkout process. And we iterated that site to what it is today. And we got all the results during that whole time. The whole project took 2 years. So if we waited 2 years to like launch that thing, then we would have lost those 2 years of results, because after the first set of changes, it was like 400 and something percent increase in revenue just from the first changes we made. So like I'm a big believer in iterate to success. That's one of our values.
If anybody's not checked out 16 Personalities, definitely check it out. It's an amazing site. You can do basically the Myers-Briggs test, right? And the design, the UX, the UI, everything's beautiful on it. So I can see the results of what you guys did there. That's just awesome. Tell us a little bit about, again, who's a good fit for you and how people can find you.
So e-commerce stores are a great fit for us, really at any stage of the process. How they can find us, go to conversioncrimes.com. Check it out. You can book a demo call with me and talk to me if you want.
Thanks so much for coming on, Quinn. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.